If you strip away time, space, and matter, what is the very first thing to exist in the universe? What actually occupied the absolute void? In the 11th century, a Persian philosopher named Naser Khosrow attempted to answer that exact question in his text, the Khwan al-Akhwan, or the Feast of the Brethren. Khosrow argues the absolute first entity to emerge from the divine was not physical matter. It was the universal intellect, known as al-Akhwan. The top node, the divine, is unreachable. Instead of creating matter directly, it emits a single bright node below, the universal intellect, acting as the pure rational blueprint. This node branches outward, establishing the strict structural rules governing the universe's massive multiplicity. This addresses a severe theological problem. How does an infinite creator, who defies all physical description, actually interact with a finite material reality? If God is entirely beyond human comprehension, direct contact with matter is impossible. The universe requires a structural intermediary to exist at all. For Khosrow, that precise mathematical bridge is reason itself. To ground this immense cosmic architecture, Khosrow points to the natural world. Look at how this single seed sprouts and expands into a living structure. He uses the specific example of a date seed. It slowly develops into a complex, towering palm tree with branches, leaves, and deep roots. But the entire biological cycle of that massive tree is focused entirely on one outcome, producing dates. And inside those dates is the exact same original seed that started the process. The end product perfectly mirrors the origin. Khosrow applies this biological loop to cosmic existence. He argues that the physical universe expanded and evolved to eventually produce humanity, specifically so humans could develop and utilize intellect. Because the highest end product of human development is our capacity to reason, reason must be the original seed that triggered the universe. In this framework, the final goal of a system proves its origin. Reason is the alpha of reality, and human logic is its omega. We can also test this hierarchy through spatial logic. Look at the physical architecture enclosed by these arches and minarets. Khosrow introduces two ontological classifications here: muhit, meaning the encompassing, and muhat, meaning the encompassed. These classifications establish the rules for what sits higher in the cosmic hierarchy. This diagram shows physical encompassment. The vast sky, the muhit, physically wraps around the earth. But in noble encompassment, a higher concept rules a lower one from within, exactly how the unseen human soul animates the physical body. We applied that exact logic to the universal intellect. Because human reason has the capacity to conceptualize, measure, and understand the vastness of the entire physical universe, the intellect actively encompasses matter. Khosrow dictates that whatever encompasses all other things must inherently be the highest, the noblest, and therefore the absolute first creation. Ontological superiority is not determined by how much physical space an object occupies. It is measured by conceptual reach. To understand how that first creation actually generated the rest of the universe, Khosrow uses the mechanics of counting. This matrix demonstrates that whether you have 1,000 or 100,000, every complex value relies on the pre-existing number 1. The universal intellect acts as that conceptual number 1, generating the physical multiplicity of galaxies, stars, and planets. Khosrow then shifts to a strict theological proof regarding the mechanism of creation. In Islamic theology, God creates reality using the spoken command kun, meaning be. This creates a logical paradox. Delivering a command is an entirely empty gesture if there is absolutely nothing present capable of hearing or understanding it. Raw physical matter, like dirt, rock, or plasma, lacks consciousness. It is deaf to pure abstract command. As a result, the pure intellect had to be created instantaneously, a process called ibda, to act as the receiver. The intellect exists to intercept and translate the command into the slow, physical evolution of the universe, known as takdir. The physical cosmos did not blindly burst into existence. The divine command logically demanded a conscious, intelligent listener to translate the word into a physical world. This exact same architectural problem of creation also occupied classical Greek philosophers. When Khosrow describes the intellect, it closely parallels Plotinus's concept of the nous, the divine mind, as well as the Stoic and Platonic idea of the logos, the rational order of the cosmos. But there is a critical distinction here. To maintain absolute Islamic monotheism, Khosrow insists that the intellect is strictly a created receiver. It is a product of God, not a co-eternal secondary deity. If we move forward to modern Western philosophy, we find echoes of this in thinkers like Immanuel Kant and G.W.F. Hegel. Khosrow's framework shares similarities with Kant's proposition that reality is shaped by the a priori rational frameworks of our minds, and Hegel's later theory of an unfolding absolute reason. The core divergence lies in directionality. Modern philosophy largely treats reason as a human invention or an emergent property of history. As the split screen shows, Khosrow views reason as a pre-existing cosmic entity that operates independent of humanity. For Khosrow, reason is not a subjective survival tool. It is the foundational frequency of the cosmos, and the human mind is uniquely calibrated to tune into it. Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. Your support really means a lot and helps me keep creating content for you all. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Let's look at this astronomical model. The ultimate theological stake of Khosrow's text is protecting the concept of tawhid, or pure monotheism, while explaining the immense rational order of the physical universe we observe. Attempting to explain this order creates two theological traps. The first is tashbih, or anthropomorphism. Imagining God manually building the universe with physical hands reduces the divine to the level of a human builder. The second trap is tati, or denial. Making God so entirely distant and abstract that he has absolutely no connection to the physical world eventually leads to atheism. The universal intellect solves this paradox. As we map this out, that central node of intellect acts as the flawless bridge between the infinite creator and the finite creation. It protects God's absolute oneness while supplying the rational order required to build stars, planets, and life. This architecture integrates human experience into the cosmos. The logic we use shoots directly back up through the universe, tethering us to that central intellect. Khosrow arrives at a definitive conclusion. Utilizing human reason and intellectual inquiry is not a secular turning away from faith. Activating our human intellect is the literal, structural return to the precise origin point of the entire cosmos. The pursuit of rational knowledge and philosophical inquiry emerges as the highest possible form of worship, because before time, space, or matter ever existed, reason was the absolute first creation.